Michel de Nostradamus, better known by the Latinized name Nostradamus, is among the world's most famous prophets and astrologers. Today, almost 500 years later, his name continues to evoke curiosity, mystique, and many question marks. This description, however, can rightly be called vulgar when it comes to a personality of such magnitude. Nostradamus was expelled from medical school, yet the story goes that he cured hundreds, perhaps even thousands of people during the plague, among other common and uncommon diagnoses, some before which traditional medicine was powerless. In addition to the future, Nostradamus sees into the past, but the prophet is best known for his unerring visions of the future. This quickly spread throughout France, Europe, and the world, leading to his invitation to the royal court, where he continued to make his divinations and astrological horoscopes. Today, Brazilian Atos Salomé is referred to as the living, reborn, or Gypsy Nostradamus. The man with gypsy roots discovered his gift of foresight when he was just 12 years old. Since then, he has made many predictions, the most important of which have come true with unprecedented accuracy. Atos predicted the pandemic several years before it began, detailing even the smallest symptoms: the beginning of events in Ukraine, the death of Elizabeth II in 2022, the purchase of Twitter by Elon Musk, and more. He also became the only one to immediately determine the winner of the 2022 World Cup. Salomé talks about a secret underground portal to aliens hidden in Area 51, and that the moon may be an artifact of an advanced alien race. Recently, however, the prophet said that according to his visions, the end of the world is near. The Antichrist will come to Earth. But things will not happen exactly as written in the old books. What awaits us? Does Atos really have a gift equal to that of Nostradamus? Nostradamus himself also speaks of the end of the world. But is there an intersection between his predictions and those of the 500-year younger prophet? The answers to these and other interesting questions are to be revealed in the next few minutes. The story of Michel de Nostradamus is extremely colorful and interesting, but we will try to share the highlights with you in a few seconds. Born in France, even his birth date itself is a mystery, as there is a dispute between two dates, 14 and 21st December 1503. Almost nothing is known about the prophet's childhood until his 14th year, when he entered the University of Avignon to study for his bachelor's degree. After just over a year there, he was forced to leave because the university closed its doors due to an outbreak of plague. For the next 8 years, Michel de Nostradamus traveled throughout France, Italy, and Spain in search of medicinal herbs from which to make healing potions. During this time, he also worked as an apothecary and helped many people stricken by the Black Disease. In 1529, Nostradamus enrolled at the University of Montpellier, one of the oldest medical institutions in the world, but was expelled from there after the school's management learned that he had been working as an apothecary, a profession that was believed to be inferior to that of a doctor. Sometime in the 1530s, Nostradamus became one of the most sought-after diviners and healers, even though he had no medical training. In addition to medicine, he was skilled in astrology. In 1547, he began making sweeping prophecies, which he later published in his book of the same name, which first came out of print in 1555. Many of the predictions made in it came true, and Nostradamus's fame quickly spread throughout the world. He was even invited as an important guest to the royal court by Catherine de' Medici, then queen consort of King Henry II of France, where he continued to make his divinations and astrological horoscopes. Naturally, as today, there was no shortage of skeptics then. They claimed that the universally renowned fortune teller had no supernatural talents at all, but simply projected events from the well-known past into the future, something like creating patterns that repeat themselves. Peter Le Mesurier, a former Cambridge linguist and professional translator, claims that Nostradamus was neither an astrologer nor a seer. He simply believed that history repeats itself. Is it possible that the prophet was actually a very good mathematician and caught some pattern related to the periodic occurrences of certain events? What do you think? His star charts, though revered by the common people, are not overlooked either. They are fiercely criticized by, so to say, professional astrologers. They argue that the prophet lacks sufficient knowledge in the field of astrology and that his horoscopes are not correct. In 1558, Lawrence Vidal published a pamphlet titled A Declaration of the Abuses, Ignorances, and Seditions of Michel Nostradamus, in which he refuted the famous prophet's predictions by emphasizing his lack of skill in astrology. On July 1st or 2nd, 1566, Michel de Nostradamus left this world. Criticized rightly or out of envy, the fact is that his legacy remains a subject of interest to this day. Let us look into some of his prophecies concerning the future. The book published in 1555 that we mentioned earlier is called the Prophecies. It is one of the prophet's most famous and extensive works that is organized as a collection. It contains 10 collections of verse called the Ages. Each of them contains 100 quatrains. In this collection, Nostradamus foretold the coming of the Antichrist, who would bring great destruction to the world. In Century 8, quatrain 77, he writes,
"The Antichrist very soon destroyed all three. 27 years shall his war last. The unbelievers will be dead, taken captive, driven out, with blood, human bodies, water, and red hail covering the earth."
Interpretations of this quatrain suggest that the Antichrist will bring widespread chaos and devastation that will last 27 years. The exact identity and character of this figure remain a matter of speculation. Nostradamus is often associated with predictions of the end of the world. Some interpret the 74th quatrain of the 10th century as describing a cataclysmic event that would lead to the apocalypse.
"The year of the great number 7 is complete. It will appear during the games of carnage, not far from the great millennial age, when the buried shall come forth from their graves."
This is believed to refer to the end times, when there will be great upheavals, and the dead will rise to ascend to the kingdom of heaven. The prophecies also speak of the coming of a new great leader who will bring about positive change and unite humanity.
Mars and the scepter will be in conjunction. Under Cancer, catastrophic war, a new king will be anointed soon after, who will pacify the earth for a long time.
This quatrain is believed to prophesy the emergence of a leader who will end conflict and usher in an era of peace and prosperity. This prophecy is given in Century 6, verse 24, and if the events are arranged chronologically according to the numbers of the centuries, then future generations definitely have a problem. But how much do the prophecies of Nostradamus match those of the modern prophet Atos Salomé? According to the Daily Mail, the living Nostradamus stated that the worst is yet to come for mankind. But has he read the prophecies of Nostradamus, or does he have his own version of things? According to Salomé, the world is on the verge of World War III. He sees that electromagnetic pulse technologies that disable electronic devices will play an important role in this war. Among other things, Atos shares something very interesting. According to his observations, most of the world leaders are adherents of the occult. They very carefully choose the dates for their major decisions based on the lunar calendar. According to him, the worst is yet to come, as great occult leaders use practices to achieve super precision in timing their attacks and major events. The strategies are carefully calculated based on a 13-month lunar calendar, ensuring that each move is executed at the ideal time for maximum impact. At the same time, Salomé admits that his predictions are not predetermined. He says he sees potential developments at this point, but they could still be changed. In addition, he warns of a coronal mass ejection that could hit the Earth and cause global power outages. According to him, a solar flare will appear that will bring 3 days of darkness. Coronal mass ejections, plasma and magnetic pulses emitted from the sun, have caused disruption to satellites and power grids more than once in the past, but the soothsayer warns that this time it will be much stronger than before and there will be a total solar eclipse. But there's more. The modern prophet sees a wave of natural disasters. He expects increased volcanic and seismic activity in the Pacific Ring of Fire, particularly on the Indonesian island of Java and in the coastal strip stretching from Northern California, USA, to southern British Columbia, Canada.
These magnificent areas will stand up against the unyielding force of nature,
he states. Ahead is the increasing intensity of hurricanes and cyclones in regions such as Southeast Asia, including the Philippines and Thailand. The Gulf of Mexico and Florida in the US are becoming extremely high hurricane risk areas, highlighting the need to be well prepared to withstand these new trends. Heavy rains are also expected, which could lead to flooding in Brazil, the Ganges Basin in India, and the Mekong Delta in Vietnam. These regions should focus on flood prevention measures. Amsterdam in the Netherlands, New York in the United States, and Tokyo in Japan must prepare and secure themselves because, in the future, their land could be swallowed up by water. Atos says he has no intention of instilling fear in the public. He hopes that his predictions of these events will not come true and that his warnings will serve as motivation for the public to unite and prioritize the common good. He believes it is very important to raise awareness on a global level because only through governance and civil cooperation will we be able to avoid these problems altogether. Up to this point, everyone can judge for themselves to what extent what Nostradamus said overlaps with what Atos said. We will not draw a conclusion so as not to influence your opinion, but it would be interesting if you could share it in a comment. However, the modern prophet goes further. According to him, Earth's natural satellite called the Moon is an advanced artifact placed in orbit for purposes that normal human understanding cannot fathom. The satellite has also undergone various modifications over the years. In its defense, it provides some fairly logical explanations, such as the fact that the Moon's influence is recognized on tides and biological effects on various species. For this and many other reasons, the prophet says that the Moon may be a key element in an advanced cosmic interconnection system, as well as a structure or advanced outpost, most likely built by a civilization or people of a future era. As skeptical as we may be, we cannot deny that just as people are born with various physical abnormalities, it is very possible that they are also born with some brain abnormality that allows them to use more of their brains. We also cannot deny that today we are witnessing many prophecies that have already happened or are happening. But if you want to continue with the prophecies that are already happening, then you need to click on the video you see on the left of your screen.